Anyway, we got back to the company headquarters. We pulled out altogether from then. I suppose it was towards Templetons Crossing, I'm not sure. But this is a little story that was a little bit humorous. The night that we got back, our platoon was given the job of guarding company headquarters or battalion headquarters or something like that. And Frank Grimshaw, who was the number one in the brand, I was the number two, he and I were paired off out in the bit of the jungle away from the company headquarters. And after we'd been there, of course, you know what the nights are like there, you can't see your hand in front of you. After we'd been there a while, Frank said, Jim, I think I'll have a bit of a kip. I said, that's okay. I didn't feel like going to sleep. And it was quite a while, I don't know, sometime later. Something sort of landed near me. And I thought, oh, could be a little twig or a branch or something. And then it was shortly after this, something else landed. And I thought, gee, that's a bit of a coincidence. And then a third thing, and then I realised the third thing didn't land me, it sort of went past me somehow. So, oh, this is handy. Tubby, as I was known, is sound asleep. How do I get on here? So I didn't want to move too much, so I reached around and grabbed his ankle and he didn't move. And I thought, good, he's sound asleep. And I didn't want to make a noise. I know this sounds a bit far-fetched, but it is true. I rolled over onto my left side and I felt for him. And then I put my hand over his mouth and spoke into his ear. I said, Tubby, they're throwing things at me. I said, I know. I thought that's why I pretend I was bloody well dead. I thought there was one of the bastards crawling over me. And that, I know that sounds, that's dinkum. What it would have been, we were trained to not to move. They were throwing things at us. And we had been told, they'll throw things at you and we'll bang, bang. One of them will throw and the other bloke we're waiting for to see the flash of your gun and you'll get it. And we knew by then that he said, we knew that they were there, not far from us. And so we just stayed there. They knew we were seen and we knew they were there. In the morning they were gone. They'd gone back, they knew that it was there and we didn't give our position away, so they were gone in the morning. Anyway, that was okay, and so then we moved on. I suppose our next move back from there was, unlike what had happened with the Japs not opening us from a longer distance, our platoon was given rearguard action at one stage, and we had set up an ambush on the track, a section, 3 sections platoon, 1 section either side, and the section I was in, there was a bit of a V in the track, we were in the middle, and these, about a dozen Japs come up the track. They must have been like I think in hindsight, they must have been like a kamikaze group, and they were screaming their head off. As I mentioned, the Four Corners program, I still didn't know to this day whether when they did that, screaming off was to boost their morale or to try and frighten the hell out of us. Anyway, they got to it, I'm not just saying it, but about no more than 30 to 20 metres from it. And all of a sudden, one of our blokes answered them. He gave them a Tarzan call. Now, I mean, you have to be an Australian to do something like that. It must have been a signal, I didn't know about it. It must have been a signal to open fire. And he gave this, I can't do it, back to them. And then they opened fire and it stopped them yelling anyway. It stopped a whole lot of them from yelling because they were in the middle of the track and fortunately we got the whole lot. Then we beat it because we knew there'd be some behind them. But that's the calmness and the coolness or strangeness of an Australian, fancy yelling back at them like that. Word must have come that the Japs were still trying to follow us at night time. And we were told we had to be on the move. And after travelling for a while, we were told to rest. Message came back to rest. And as I said before, you couldn't see your hand in front of you. And so you just sat down and rested on the track. And I remember taking my water bottle off. And unlike now where they have it in the pouch, ours was strapped to our webbing. You had to undo the webbing and have the drink of water. And then all of a sudden we got the order to move again. It was so dark I couldn't find my water bottle. And for the next day or two, I wouldn't ask someone for a drink. I used to lick the dew off the trees. I wonder I didn't poison myself, but still, because the dampness there, they were always damp. And you didn't always come to a creek to get a drink. And further to that is that one of our platoon members, Jeff Sadlier, when he lay down alongside the track and he fell asleep. And it was so dark, no one knew he was there. And Jeff woke up next morning on his own. You can imagine how he felt. And he joined us up on Brigade Hill. And when he got up there, I think it was Subby said to him, keep going. He said, you've had enough. Knowing the condition he'd be in, told him to keep going. And in later years here, when he married, he was in Victoria, and his wife had said to me how strange Jeff was, and he wouldn't have a book about the war whatsoever, or whatever he mentioned, in his house in this age. I told her this story. This was after he'd passed away, as a matter of fact, in later life. And she came back here and she looked me up again. And I told her this story about what happened to him. She said, I wish I'd known that when he was alive. Probably something that played on for the rest of his life. Imagine waking up next morning, it wasn't a soul, and took him about a day and a half before he caught up to where we were, on his own, up there. Someone said maybe even the Japs went past him too in the dark. Could have done, because we didn't go to Moir on the way back, and I believe the Japs did because they went looking for stores. They might have gone past him as well.